I don't want to talk much more. I'm not here for the bull. I'm ready to play, and that's it.
Being an NBA superstar is like carrying the weight of the world, especially when your goal is to lead your team to an NBA championship. So in the NBA, being a superstar means all eyes are on you to lead your team to a championship. If you win, you are the hero. If you lose, you are the one catching the blame. Is it true that LeBron needs more help to become the next Michael Jordan, as you wish? Now rewind to 2015 and it was pretty straightforward. Win and you are a legend, lose and you are not. But then things started changing. Around that time, fans along with the media folks started cutting some slack to players who didn't quite come through in big moments. They began pointing to impressive stats even if they didn't really contribute much to the team's success. Now let's talk about LeBron James. He is known for putting up some serious numbers, especially in the finals and playoffs. But sometimes when his team doesn't clinch the victory, people tend to let it slide because, well, he had those big numbers. It's like they give him a pass just because his stats look good, even if the outcome isn't in his favor. Let's dive into LeBron James' mindset, which has been all about check my stats for almost a decade now. Now, if we compare that to someone like Michael Jordan, it's like night and day. When Jordan lost, he had a completely different attitude. Unlike LeBron, he didn't make it all about himself. Instead, he shared the credit with his teammates and coaches. Even when Jordan's Bulls lost, he didn't throw his teammates under the bus or boost himself up just because he had good stats. That just wasn't his style. Now let's fast forward to the 2024 Lakers. LeBron James, not even halfway through the season, is once again pointing fingers at his teammates. He recently made some pretty harsh comments suggesting that even his own son, Bronny James, who's just a freshman in college averaging 5 points per game, could get minutes on this Lakers team. Now, don't get us wrong, Bronny has potential. But saying he could play on the Lakers right now is a big insult to LeBron's teammates. These kinds of comments, they don't build team chemistry. In fact, they demolish it. Imagine being a teammate and hearing your leader say someone averaging 5 points in college could play better than you in the NBA. It's not exactly inspiring, right? And this isn't a one-time thing. LeBron has a history of making these kinds of comments, and it's no wonder why some role players on his teams struggle. Who won't with that kind of pressure? And if you sign up to play with LeBron, whether it's with the Lakers, Cavaliers, or even the Heat, there is a good chance you might end up being traded. And if the team loses, you can bet you'll be the one getting the blame. It's a tough spot for everyone, and it makes you wonder why some role players in LeBron's teams always seem to have a hard time. Maybe it's because of comments like these constantly hanging over them. LeBron James has built his entire career around the idea of more. He constantly seeks more help, more star players, more shooting, and just more of everything. It's a stark difference from someone like Michael Jordan, whom LeBron has been chasing since 2016. And then there is Jerry Krause, who despite not being a fan of Jordan, acknowledged that MJ never begged for help or demanded more from his team. Now let's talk about the concept of stat padding. Inflating one's stats, especially in garbage time. If you glance at a player's stats on paper and see something like 28 points, 5 boards, shooting around 60%, it looks pretty impressive, right? Well, not always. Stats can be deceiving. When it comes to LeBron James, stat padding has been a recurring theme in his career. After the 2011 finals, where LeBron had a rough time and faced heavy criticism, he was determined not to let that happen again. So he focused on putting up impressive stats, even if the game was already decided. It became a sort of self-preservation strategy. By having good stats, he often gets a pass for losing. It's like a shield against criticism, but it also raises questions about the true impact of those numbers on the game. Let's zoom in on the 2014 NBA Finals, where the Miami Heat faced utter demolition, getting blown out in almost every game. Now, if you check LeBron James' raw numbers from that series, they might seem impressive, even great to some. But here is the catch. As the series unfolded, especially in Game 3 through 5, they were blowouts. LeBron's points, however, came largely in garbage time or when the game was already decided. After the first 2 games, where things were even at 1-1, the next 3 were all lopsided victories. In those blowout games, LeBron scored 81 points, and a whopping 51 of those points were when his team was trailing by 15 points or more. Wrap your head around that. 60% of his points were essentially in moments when the game was already out of reach. This paints the 2014 finals as a bit of a stealth stat padding situation. Sure, if you just look at the numbers on paper, they seem fantastic. However, if you watch the series and understand basketball, you'd realize that LeBron strategically inflated his stats to shield himself from criticism. It's a clever move, but it also highlights the importance of considering context when evaluating a player's performance. Fast forward to 2024, and the Lakers are having a tough time on the court. Excuses are popping up left and right. LeBron James' age, concerns about teammates and Anthony Davis' assistants, you name it. The interesting part, just a month ago, Paul Pierce spoke the truth, saying LeBron was a top 5 player. The backlash he faced was intense. This sheds light on the hypocrisy among LeBron fans. When things are going well, they are quick to tell you that at 39, LeBron is playing better than ever, like a 25-year-old. He's hailed as a top 5 athlete, the best player in the world, and the Lakers are seen as legit contenders. But when things take a downturn, suddenly it's, why are you so critical of a 39-year-old? The reality is, they overhyped and overrated LeBron James and his team all summer long. You can't have it both ways, boosting LeBron up using his age when everything's peachy and then using that same age as an excuse when things aren't going well. It's just common sense. You can't flip-flop on LeBron's age to fit the narrative based on how the team is performing. When we compare Jordan and LeBron, it's not just about their basketball skills, it's about their mindset. Jordan embodies a me, I mentality, while LeBron leans more towards a we and us approach. This contrast became glaringly obvious in the 2018 season when LeBron boldly declared himself the greatest player in the NBA history. If you truly believe you are the GOAT, shouldn't your achievements speak for themselves? It's puzzling that LeBron, despite having fans, media and family affirming his greatness, often resorts to making excuses and passing the blame onto the teammates and coaches. If he's genuinely the best, why the need for constant justification? And why do so many media personalities feel the need to spin stories in his favor? If you're truly the greatest, your resume, accolades, and championships should tell the tale without the need for elaborate narratives. Comparing him to Jordan becomes tricky. To push LeBron ahead in the public's eyes, you often have to tilt the scales heavily in his favor, creating a somewhat ridiculous narrative. Even if LeBron plays for another 4 or 5 years at age 39, surpassing Jordan in public opinion seems unlikely. His recent accomplishment of passing Karl Malone in scoring, which, while notable, didn't quite change the game or elevate LeBron above the MJ status. In contrast, Michael Jordan did things differently. He faced challenges, took losses, but when he did, he owned up to them. He didn't shift blame onto teammates. He took responsibility. It's a tale of two approaches. Jordan doing things the right way, and LeBron opting for a more team-hopping strategy that might tarnish his legacy. And then, the comparison boils down to a fundamental difference in how these two legends approached their careers. Jordan, while not perfect, handled losses differently and didn't pass them. What are your thoughts about LeBron? Do let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Catch you all in the next video with existing contents.